And let us join you live. Good afternoon, folks. This is a game that we have been looking forward to for months at this point now. And honestly, it feels like early season weather out here on James Cotter Field. But the game that we have been looking forward to, the semifinal matchup in the 2023 LEC men's lacrosse season. It is your two-seeded UMass Boston Beacons playing host to the upstart, the scorching hot three-seeded Plymouth State Panthers. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Del Sordo. Thank you for joining us on this unseasonably cool, now May afternoon out here on the peninsula. Plymouth State, they're playing some red-hot lacrosse right now. We'll get to them momentarily. For the Beacons, it's been an up-and-down second half of the season, but the Beaks right now riding a bit of an upswing. They followed up their 14-goal win against ECSU with a dominant performance, an 18-goal win, 25-7 on the road at Castleton. And then they've been sitting pretty, twiddling their thumbs. They luck out with the win Plymouth State earned in the last game of their regular season against Keene State. That put the Beacons, Plymouth State, and Keene State in a three-way tie. And the Beacons, by virtue of beating Keene State, of beating Plymouth State and then having the largest goal differential, they ended up the 2 seed. So they got to sit at home and watch this Plymouth State team absolutely dismantle the 6-seeded ECSU Warriors. It wasn't a light beating. It was an 18-3 drubbing. And if you note that low score output from ECSU, that's going to be what we need to look out for here, the Beacons, against Plymouth State. It is a staunch defensive unit. You take a look at their last 4 contests. They've won all 4 of those games, allowing 9, 8, and then 3 goals. Another thing to note for Plymouth State, how well they play in close games. They have won 3 games by 1 goal already, and 2 more games by 2. They have 6 wins of 4 goals or less, and so even if this game were to get close, you know that they will not flinch. They won't bat an eye. Now, these two teams did play each other much earlier on this season. It was the very first game of conference play up in Plymouth, New Hampshire, and the Beacons were victorious, resounding 21-6 victory. That was the first game we got to see Jacob Banks out onto the field in conference play. He scored 3 goals. It was a 4-goal performance for Connor Smith, and the offense was clicking. Well, now it's a different scenario that we're looking at right now. The Beacons offense, it's back up and at it in its normal high-scoring output ways, but the defense, seeing some more freshmen find their way into the lineup, it hasn't been as stalwart as last season's Beacons defensive unit. There are 2 big goal scorers for Plymouth State that the Beacons will need to keep eyes out for today, in the form of number 10, Crosby Fay, and number 9, Jake Dolcemascolo. Now, Dolcemascolo, he's a local product. He actually played high school lacrosse with about 5 or 6 players on the Beacons roster. He does everything for the Panthers this season. 36 goals, 35 assists. Always on the ball, 19 ground balls to boot. Not the biggest guy. 5'10", 175, very quick hands, quick body around the net. Crosby Fay, on the other hand, hard to miss. Big number 10, he stands at 6'2", 200 pounds out of Waterville Valley, New Hampshire, and he leads the Panthers with 57. Not a typo. 5'7", 57 goals on 156 shots. Just 5 assists out of the big goal scorer. So those 2 are going to be the 2 main eyes, the 2 main players the Beacons defense needs to keep eyes on at all time. Crosby Fay, just coming off maybe one of the clutchest moments of his lacrosse career, scoring the game-winning goal in overtime to have Plymouth State pull off that upset over Keene State and clinch them the 3 seed. Now, there's another game in LEC conference play starting later on tonight, and hopefully the members of those 2 teams sitting down and watching this one. WestCon hosting Keene State. That's the 1-4 matchup. That was the other semifinal on the opposite side of the bracket last season, so a lot of familiar faces. Both teams are headed to their sideline. We were about to hop into the national anthem, so don't go anywhere because we're not either. Semifinals starting momentarily on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv. All right, guys, welcome back. Didn't go anywhere. Perfect timing. Welcome into the semifinals. Look at that. All's well that ends well right there. At the wire, we're back up and at it here. And welcome into James Cotter Field for the 2-3 matchup in the 2023 LEC Conference semifinals. This one rolling right along into the Beaks offensive zone. And so the Beaks going to win the first possession of the afternoon. Darian Clay gets the scoop out from Jason McNeely, and this will be a nice opportunity to get the offense rolling, unless we just had a situation with the shot clocks right here. There was actually a clock error on the main clock right there. So there we go. Nice little wake-up call to get us started here. It's a 1 o'clock midweek game out here on Cotter Field. So resetting the scene one more time, Plymouth State, they're the 3 seed today, 14-3 on the season, 7-2 in conference after their first round win on Tuesday against ECSU. The Beacons, meanwhile, 11-6. They came out on top of that 3-way tie for the 2 seed, and so that's why they're hosting this game. The Beacons do have the head-to-head win over the Panthers earlier, the first game of conference play back earlier this season. Luke Murphy gets the slip pass from Zach Mann, dodging one-on-one against Jack Bonazzoli. Bonazzoli cuts him off, and so Murphy looks to his left here to Liam Bowler. Midway through the possession here, about 45 on the shot clock. Bowler with the left-handed dodge. He gets blocked off. This is a phenomenal defensive unit from Plymouth State. They've only been getting better and better as the season progresses, but Smith is open. What a pass from Zach Mann to find Connor Smith right in the center of that defense. His shot whizzes by the right post, but it's right back to Jacob Banks from the X, and he winds it quickly back in for the Beaks. Here's Mann again. One-on-one look operating against Zach Marvel. Banks, that pass was behind him. Quick reaction to get it out to Admiran. Gavin one-on-one on the island. He floats it back up to Smith. Under 30 on the shot clock now is Bowler. Jabs with the step. The head fake doesn't create any separation. And you can see this Plymouth State defensive unit. They're firing on all cylinders right now, keeping the Beacons pretty far away from the net. They had that one opportunity on the man shot. Here's Murphy trying to use that body to get inside, flicks the pass over the top. That's going to be one defensive possession and one stop for the Panthers here as they load up the perimeter of the defensive attack. There was one shot on goal. Connor Smith had an opportunity thanks to the Zach Mann pass. He pulls it wide. And now here's our first look at Owen McNichols. He wears number 40. He's a junior out of Manchester, New Hampshire. A 55.1 save percentage on the season. Just keeping everything out of net, it seems like, for the Panthers, who will get the first man-up opportunity today. Delayed penalty coming against the Beaks, and so a slow build-up to the offensive attack here. As Nick Drew, the senior from Chelmsford, going to wind it all the way back to the X here. Remember, there's a delayed penalty. There might be 2 separate penalties coming against the Beacons here. So the first look from the outside, save made by Trevor Coppy as Nolan Burke let that one rip. He's the team's 4th leading goal scorer. Coppy had a good look at it, but now it'll be the first differential very early in this contest, and a man up for Plymouth State. Going to wait for the official word on the penalty with the ref making his way over. Two separate offside penalties. Jacob Banks, Liam Bowler, the 2 players working the offensive side of the midfield attack there. Both called for offsides. That Liam Bowler penalty happened just right in front of the referee, and it seemed like that was some miscommunication with the bench. And so Plymouth State, golden opportunity to get the first goal of this contest here. They play a slower style offensively than the Beacons, and they have no problem being in a grinded-out style of game. So an early lead for Plymouth State would be paramount. They scored the first 2 goals in the game earlier this season against the Beaks. The Beacons did end up scoring 21 of the game's last 25 goals. Drew over to Dolce Mascolo, and that pass intended for Fay. He wasn't ready for it. That right there should wind off the 30 seconds with these man-down penalties. So that's a big play defensively right there. Dolce Mascolo and Fay are the 2 players that Plymouth State leans on offensively. And they had a look there built up on the right side of the offensive attack, and Fay didn't catch the pass. Simple as that. You can hear the countdown right now, so 8 seconds left on this double penalty. Copy with it. Over to Patrick Carey. Both players released, both players onto the field, and Jacob Banks helping clear with Liam Bowler. So that's a great opportunity to take advantage of the mismatch here. Bowler behind the net to Admiran, fakes the shot low, pulls the shot high, and scores. And it's Gavin Admiran from Liam Bowler getting it started. That's a familiar tune. It's the team's leading goal scorer, now scoring his 67th of the year, and Liam Bowler now third on the team with 15 assists. Admiran from Bowler, and we're underway with a Beacons lead here in the semifinals. It's 1-0. So now the Beacons back on the field. It's going to be a Plymouth State faceoff win, though. McNeely got out-muscled on the play right there by Leaf Charbonneau. He's one of the best Fogos in the LEC. He wins that one back, and now the Panthers across the midfield line. Once again, a rather tentative approach here, just building up on the outskirts of the offensive zone before they wind it in. It's Nolan Burke, the junior out of Worcester, Mass. 10 goals, 20 assists on the season. He has the ball in his stick quite a bit. You'll see Nolan Burke and Matt Miner kind of pulling the strings, and Dolce Mascolo and Faye, the target men out in front of the net. You have Nick Drew swinging the pass over here to Nolan Burke. A pair of juniors on the outside now, as this is Mike Fleury with a shot and a score. Mike Fleury, the team's third leading goal scorer, just pocketed his 19th goal of the season as he had a little bit of a lane there, lets it rip with a low shot. And number 39, Mike Fleury, scoring his 19th goal of the season. We expected defense. We might have a shootout. It's Beacons 1, Panthers 1. So it was Gavin Admiran at the 12-12 mark. Not even 50 seconds later, Mike Fleury scoring at 11:25. Third leading goal scorer we mentioned, now 19 goals on the season. Talk about Crosby Faye and his big frame. He stands at 6'1", 200. Mike Fleury, 6'2", 225, hard to knock off his block, and that was a big shot. And another face-off win for Plymouth State as we're back underway out here on Connor Field. Ryan Hanlon swings it back around. This is our first look at Carl Flinter. Talented senior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, fifth on the team with 12 goals on the season. He wraps it around to Ryan Jones. Jones, a sophomore out of Tolan, Connecticut. Swings around Darian Clay, hassling him, and Clay forces the turnover. Very nice play from Darian Clay. One-on-one ride with Ryan Jones. Nowhere for Jones to go as he kind of just kept skirting away from the net, and ultimately it was that stick check from Darian Clay that forces the turnover. Charlie Chapman, he's seeing his first look on the field here. Pat Carey helps with the clear, slips it back to Luke Murphy. Murphy to Mann, and the Beacons keep this rolling. Carson Mezawar, very nice job getting down to the ground to keep that one on the side of the Beaks. And now Murphy, just kind of stalking around the 35-yard line. He's such an imposing figure. Carson Mezawar, the very talented freshman out of Adams, Mass, gets knocked off his block. He draws the penalty. It will be scooped up by the Panthers, but the guilty party there looks to be Ryan Jones. He's headed towards the sin bin, and this is a big opportunity for the Beacons to break this little 1-1 tie early on. So it's just a 30-second technical against Ryan Jones for pushing. That happened right in front of the net, and that was Carson Mezawar, the freshman, drawing the penalty. So here are the Beacons, 1-for-1 in their man-down killing opportunities. Let's see if they can get a goal here with a man up. Mann's going to wind it in. Looks to Murphy on his left. It was Gavin Admiran scoring his 67th goal of the season that got the scoring started 2 minutes ago for the Beacons. Mike Fleury followed it up with a rip from pretty far away from the net to get it tied back at one apiece. Murphy, loose handle there. He gets it back to Bowler. Smith has some room. Oh, beautiful pass to Banks. He didn't field it cleanly, though, and that's going to be a crease warning against Jacob Banks. So the Beacons, 1-for-1 on their kill, and 2 seconds away for the Panthers also killing off their first penalty. Nolan Burke comes onto the field. Plymouth State kills off that penalty. Banks with a good effort there, almost forces the turnover, but Owen McNichols, he's a very sure-handed goaltender. He gets that one right through, and now Cam Jenkins, the freshman midfielder, just walked right through four Beacons defenders for the clear for Plymouth State. 9:23 on a running clock right now as Plymouth State into the offensive zone. Matt Miner now swinging over to his right, and he looks over to Mike Fleury. Fleury, the first goal scorer of the afternoon, hands it off to Nolan Burke. Berg to Nick Drew. Passes over his shoulder. We're still on the left side of the offensive attack for Plymouth State. Dolce Mascolo. Oh, outside to Faye. What a beautifully executed play for the Panthers as Jake Dolce Mascolo got right in on the right doorstep. He looked like he was going to shoot it. Then a long pass out to Crosby Faye. It just pulled a couple of defenders away from the lane, and Crosby Faye deposits it for his team-leading 58th goal of the season. And it's 2 unanswered goals for Plymouth State. They're back up 2-1. So it was Admiran from Bowler to get the scoring started for the Beaks, but then Mike Fleury and Crosby Faye, 2 goals to put Plymouth State up 2-1. We have 8 minutes, 49 seconds on a running clock here in the first quarter at James Cotter Field. Another look at Nolan Burke, or now Nolan Burke gets the pass from Aiden O'Loughlin. Joining the attack is Nick Drew, and here comes Plymouth State, holding a 2-1 lead. Obviously not going to be in any type of hurry right now, knowing how solid their defense is. Fleury. Back up top to Nick Drew. To Burke. Just looking for that slot in. Basically, they got it down near the doorstep once on that last possession, but once it got to Dolce Mascolo, he found the pass over to Faye. So that might be the same approach here. They get the man in the middle. It's slipped right through the defense, and it's picked up by Beauregard. And now Nolan has some room to operate. Great defense right there to force the lack pass. Beauregard, he wants to shoot. His eyes are still towards the net. He'll finally wind it back around, but a caused turnover and a clear for Beauregard, and now Zach Mann setting up the offense from the X. Mezawar has Chapman over his shoulder. Chapman rambling on through, gets knocked off his block, slips the pass over to Banks, back to Chapman. Now Charlie switches to the left-handed dodge. He'll reset. Maybe could have forced the shot there, but it probably would have been forced, and so instead they'll opt for Smith to join the attack. Connor Smith. Back up top to Nolan Beauregard. 20 goals on the season for the true freshman. Right-handed dodge. Shot. It's off the post, and the save is made by Owen McNichols. That's just his second save of the afternoon. Plymouth State, they do a great job limiting shots. He's let one get past him, but a beautiful save right there. And here comes Plymouth State. Mark Hersham, the ball-moving defender, but that one not caught cleanly by Dolce Mascolo. Ryan Jones scoops it up and saves that possession for the Panthers. But how about Patrick Carey poking it free and helping Banks get the clear? Ahead to Zach Mann. 1-on-1, and he scores! That got started from Carey. Banks with the assist. Mann with the finish. And the Beacons, a very clutch goal to knot this back up at 2 apiece. Zach Mann, not a 5th-year senior, a 6th-year senior. That's a clutch playoff goal to knot it back up at 2. So technically that's Mann from Banks, but they both owe some thanks to Patrick Carey on that play. Right place, right time. And now a face-off violation against Plymouth State and a timeout on the field, which will give us the opportunity to take our first break of the afternoon. It's been a fun 8 minutes of lacrosse. We're tied at 2 apiece. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv. All right, well, before the action goes live, we will rejoin the action here. There is going to be a 1-minute penalty against Plymouth State. Number 4, Ryan Jones, called for illegal equipment. He has too deep a pocket on his stick, and so that is a huge opportunity for the Beacons. They are 1 for 2 on their man-up opportunities. It's tied right now at 2-2. We're halfway through the first quarter, and Ryan Jones' penalty for illegal equipment is going to give the Beacons a man-up shot right here. So that's going to be an unreleasable penalty. The Beacons 60 full seconds starting with the ball.
1 minute locked in.
So there you go. There's confirmation right there. This is a huge opportunity at the very least to hold possession in the Panthers zone without the chance of a man getting released. Mick Flynn going to walk this one into play. Once again, Ryan Jones, the sophomore attacker from Toland, Connecticut. He has 11 points on the season. Guilty party for an illegal stick as that one just misses wide. It might have skimmed off the right post, the low shot from Connor Smith. Banks closest to it, it'll stay with the Beaks. Bags to man to Flynn. Over to Bowler.
He put his finger up. It was a save. He put his finger up. Finger went like this. That's a reset.
Here, another clock questionnaire that we will get situated momentarily. All right, so resetting the action. 7 minutes, 20 seconds through this first quarter. 8:20 now. Rain has just started to fall here, which we kind of expected would be part of today. It's only in the mid-40s out here on Cotter Field, so this is much more Plymouth State weather than the Beacons usually have out here on Cotter Field. Shot clock's back in order, and so there you have it. It's going to be 53 more on the shot clock. Doing some mental math, still plenty of time. At least 36 seconds, it looks like, for the Beacons, with a man up in the offensive zone here. Bowler passes it back to Flynn. And here we go. Now the Beacons with a man up opportunity. Shot clock is at 50. Flynn. Oh, great play right up at the front of the Panthers defense by Jack Bonazzoli. And he gets through 3 Beacons defenders, and now if you're the Panthers, you just kind of want to stall here and let this one wind. Instead, that pass goes to no one in particular. Smith with the interception has Bowler rocketing ahead down the field. The Beacons will still have an opportunity with the man up, but that pass, a little rush there from Admirand intended for Banks over his head, and the Beacons do turn it over. This is a golden opportunity that looks to be given away here from the Beaks. 6:14 on a running clock. 9 seconds left on that Jones penalty. And so the Panthers now going to walk into the opportunity back onto even strength here. Just a phenomenal job from them. They are, pardon me, got my stats wrong. They're 2 for 2 on the man down kills. And so now Plymouth State once again, ball back to Nolan Burke. And it's Burke and Drew setting up the attack. Mike Fleury, he has one of the 2 Panthers goals. Out high up on the right perimeter. Burke gets the push from Mezawar, so he'll slide the pass over to Fleury. Great check there on the play from Luke Murphy, dropping back into the defensive zone, but it's Fleury. That was right around the spot on the field he scored his first goal from. Slips the pass over to Nick Drew. Drew's pass through 2 bodies. It's last touched by Nolan Burke, and he gets to it first, but it's picked up on the play by Patrick Colburn. Phenomenal job by PC on that play through 2 Panthers defenders, using his bigger body there to keep that one with the Beaks. And now Murphy, he's out in front of Burke on the clear. The Beacons have an advantage. Admiran, and what a save by Owen McNichols. Banks is going to get to it first and keep it into the zone, but a phenomenal play by a phenomenal goaltender. The Beaks robbed with, they had numbers on that one. They had an open look, and that's almost automatic, usually from Admiran. McNichols, his 3rd save of the afternoon. Admiran. Bodied away from the crease. Smith over to Charlie Chapman. Now here's Chapman against Cam Jenkins, the freshman. Spins, creating that angle for the right-handed shot. That's normally Charlie's goal. He has Mann. Zach Mann spinning just a bit too far away from the net for that to be a formidable shot. So instead it's Chapman back to Mann. Pretty deep into this possession here as that Plymouth State defense just announcing its presence yet again. This one scurries all the way back towards the midfield line, and now Smith at the 20. Connor Smith back up to Chapman. 10 on the shot clock now as Banks going to have to get something rolling. Banks away from the net, out to Murphy, over to Smith. Smith going to have to let it go, and that will miss the net high. It was an admirable effort from Connor Smith to get one off. You can hear the Beacon sideline just screaming directions there as they knew they were going to have to suffer the shot clock violation, getting the proper personnel back onto the field to maybe affect the clear. And so another solid defensive possession for Plymouth State, but a difficult task here. Nick Drew getting around Darian Clay. Slipping out here, Brady Hunt, freshman attacker from from Billerica, and he actually coming on strong as of late. 15 goals on the season, including 3 in the last regular season game for Plymouth State. Fleury, left-handed cradle, gets cut off by Mezawar. Looks to be Brady Hunt maybe opting to set a pick. Instead, it's still going to be Mezawar and Fleury. Fleury just opting to use that body to create space. That pass intended for Dolce Mascolo. Clay tips it, and it is picked up by Patrick Carey. The Beacons with 4 straight defensive stops in their own right, and now trying to make something happen in transition. Carey to man to Admiran, who scores! Beautiful pass in the corn cob celebration from Gavin Admiran as Zach Mann. That's a veteran decision. He could have taken the shot. He opted for the extra pass. Admiran scores his 68th of the season from Zach Mann, and the Beacons take their second lead of the contest. Beacons 3, Panthers 2. So Gavin Admiran, Zach Mann, the 2 leading names here in the first quarter. Mann with a goal and an assist. Admiran with 2 goals, and the Beacons with a 3-2 lead, and a huge face-off win there for Matthew Lucosi. Charbonneau and the Beaks, they were even with each other 3-3 up until this point, and so now the Beacons with that slight advantage in the face-off circle. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left to go in the first quarter in the LEC Conference Semifinals. Your 2-seeded UMass Boston Beacons, 3. The 3-seeded Plymouth State Panthers, 2. And this has been a bit of a war of attrition here. It hasn't been as many just shot opportunities. Beauregard's shot, I think, was deflected on its way in. It will stay with Admiran. That's the big focus attacking this Plymouth State team. They keep the score low. You're going to think you have a shooting lane. It won't be there, or Owen McNichols will stop it anyway. And so the Beacons, I think if you would ask Coach Lowe, probably not all that upset with the output they are getting and the chances they have gotten. And 2 of those 3 goals have come straight out of midfield transition plays. Bowler spins. Bowler keeps the cradle alive, flings it over to Admirand. Oh, Connor Smith wasn't ready for it. That was deflected, which means it will stay with the Beaks. Banks will go over to it. 2:05 on the clock in the quarter. 20 seconds on the shot clock, and here's Bowler with Banks to his right and Mann to his left. We've seen Bowler kind of develop and earn that role as the point man on offense for the Beaks. He'll definitely have that role next season. Great save from McNichols as he goes down low. Smith, I don't think he saw that one was loose, but he has it after the rebound. Smith still didn't get the pass off, and it's broken up by Mark Hersham. And it's picked up on the play by Bonazzoli. Banks did knock it free. It's still with Gilvar. And the Panthers now do get the clear. That could have been an offsides right in front of the ref. He got back in the nick of time, and now Brady Hunt spins. He gets warded off by Beauregard and passes it away. Phenomenal defense there for the freshman Nolan Beauregard. Stepping up, warding off that pass. It goes out of bounds. He gets a quick breather, and the Beacons do get the final shot clock possession of the quarter if they choose to hold. That was a dangerous pass. It finds Luke Murphy just over the stick of Brady Hunt. Murphy back to Chapman. Chapman over to McFlynn. McFlynn, quick feet, quick shot, and a big save from McNichols. He kept the stick low. He didn't change the angle, and the bounce shot doesn't get too far off the turf. McNichols, his 5th save now of the first quarter. Maybe Plymouth State, they might choose for the final possession. Aiden O'Loughlin flips it over to Ryan Jones, who finally now back onto the field after suffering that illegal equipment penalty midway through the period. He has his eyes towards the net here. Works around Jack Ranta, spins it back in the direction of Matt Miner. And the shot and score from Crosby Fay right in the middle of the defense. Matt Miner, the beautiful pass. Fay, once again, that's what he does. He puts the ball in the back of the net for the 59th time this season. It's a Crosby Fay goal. You can thank Matt Miner for the assist. And this is the tenor we expected this game to take. Nip and tuck, point for point. We're tied back up again with just 36 seconds left in the first quarter. It's Beacons 3, Panthers 3, and a huge midfield face-off draw between Charbonneau and McNeely. Pardon me, that's Matthew Lucosi, 39 in the center circle. Charbonneau going to get called for the face-off violation. And now Murphy, right around the defense. Banks, oh, beautiful late stick from Gilvar. He had Chapman. He thought Chapman would be sneaking into the backside of the attempt. No, Gilvar was able to just reach up and pluck it out of the sky. And with 15 seconds left, now really all Plymouth State needs to worry about is the clear. Joey Lober gets it across the timeline. There is going to be a delayed penalty against the Beaks, and so that looks like how quarter number 2 will start. Ball still getting kicked around. That will bring us to the end of the first quarter. And so we'll end the first quarter tied at 3, but the Beacons will head into the second quarter a man down. Fun first 15 minutes of lacrosse. You can tell it's a playoff game here at Connor Field. At the end of the first quarter, the UMass Boston Beacons 3, the Plymouth State Panthers 3. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv. We're about to rejoin the action here. Second quarter about to get started at Connor Field. Right before that period ended, it was a 1-minute penalty against Gavin Admirant. He's right in front of us in the sin bin here. Plymouth State going to start with possession. 3-3 your score through 1. The Beacons, busy on offense. They've put out 13 shots. 3 of them have beaten the goalie. Unfortunately for Plymouth State, they've scored on 3 of their 4 shots. 1 save from Trevor Coppy. Only 4 shots total, and 3 of them have beaten Coppy up to this point. So the Beacons have to like where their defense is at, but that final closeout right in front of the net, maybe a little more polishing needed there. The Beacons 3 for 3 with a man down. Plymouth State 2 for 2 with a man down, so we're looking for our first team to maybe score a man-up goal here as Admirant still has 35 seconds in his penalty. It's a low shot, a hard shot from Crosby Fay. It misses wide to the left. Yeah, he's got such a quick trigger on the release. It's how he already beat the Beacons twice, and you can't commit every defender to big number 10, but you're almost tempted to when he has a quick release like that. It's right back into play, quickly out to the aforementioned Crosby Fay. Jake Dolcemascolo, a nice no-look pass, but instead it's tipped by McCullough and intercepted by Evan Twombly, and now Twombly right through the Panthers' defense. Murphy around Minor using that big body for the clear. To Patrick Carey in the slot over the head of Connor Smith, and a bad turnover right there. 10 seconds left on the Admirant penalty as the Beacons couldn't keep that one into the zone. You know, Gavin probably wanted them to just keep it down in the corner, let him join the fun. Instead, it's going to be Caesar Hendricks joining the attack. We've got a broken stick on the field for the Panthers. And a player joining the attack in that regard. So Admirant's penalty is over. Hendricks is on the defensive 6. And it's Nolan Burke on the right side of the offense for Plymouth State. We're back at even strength lacrosse. Burke to the X. Pass in the middle. Shot is missed. I think Coppy might have gotten a stick to it, but that was Nick Drew on the doorstep, and he pulled the shot to the left. Back inside to Dolcemascolo. One-on-one for Coppy, and oh my goodness, that one looked like it got kicked up into the net. I don't know. Let's see the discussion here because that ball bounced off of the foot, and it's no goal. Now, I'm not sure if it's a cross warning or a crease warning, what the actual violation was on that one, but it looked like the ball ultimately got kicked in. I don't know if it was kicked in by McNichols or Dolcemascolo. The Beacons, they'll take that stop there. They do get the clear, and now Murphy has Chapman to his right. Chapman, he's got an angle, rips! And the save is made by Owen McNichol. It deflects all the way out of bounds. It will be... No, Plymouth State ball. I thought Carey was to at first. Nolan Burke had the angle on it. What a save from Owen McNichols. He's already made 6 of them. As Chapman, I think if you're Charlie Chapman, you have to expect that ball finding the back of the net with that much momentum. Instead, still knotted at 3 apiece. And Plymouth State, we heard the onus from the coaching staff between the 2 quarters to slow it down, long possessions. You know that's what the Panthers are going to do here is Carl Flinter winding all the way behind the net with a left-handed cradle. Out to Fay. Fay fakes the low shot, gets inside on Smith, misses the shot wide, but the rebound goes to Dolcemascolo. Burke Gets walled off there by Patrick Carey. It's going to be a long shot and a goal from Ryan Hanlon, the junior midfielder from Hull, Massachusetts. Just his 5th goal on the season. Nobody came out to him in time. At Big 33, let it rip. And Ryan Hanlon gives the Panthers a 4-3 lead with 12:36 left to go in the second quarter. You can see this is a jubilant bench right now for Plymouth State, starting to get some confidence. Their coaching staff had called them out in between quarters for looking tight, feeling tight. They also called out the Beacons. Admittedly, they got that one right. But you can see Plymouth State loosening up a little bit, feeling confident right now, and they're holding the 4-3 lead thanks to that Ryan Hanlon snipe from the outside for Trevor Coppy. Less than stellar afternoon continuing right now. It is 4 Plymouth State goals on 6 Plymouth State shots. Not the best clip there. Lucozzi forces the turnover. Wow, he had to scratch and claw to get that one away from Charbonneau. But gets the face-off win. Did it himself. Now Connor Smith trying to tie this one back up. Looks to Admiran. Admiran chops his feet behind the net. From the X. Looks back in the direction of Mezawar. Over to Smith. You can see the rain picking up in front of us here. Smith, that long hair, looking a little wet under the helmet here in quarter number 2. Right-handed dodge shot, scores! Connor Smith, welcome to the party. It is his 51st goal of the season. You knew he wanted to let it rip, and he just plays with those wrists. Boom, gets the shot off, tucks it inside the right post for the 51st time this season. It's Connor Smith finding Twine, and we're tied up at 4 apiece. Well, what a game we have developing in front of us right now. When one team scores, the other team answers. When one team looks in line for a run, the other one says no. And we're right back knotted up in this contest as Sean Cullen just takes a huge body blow all over the middle of the field. That's Anthony Laurizio clearing up some space for the face-off win. Big play for the Panthers there. Right back onto the X here is Matt Miner. Cradling over his shoulder. Luke Murphy says no. Beautiful one-on-one defense. And now Murphy has Carey in front of him. No, he has the body advantage. An easy clear for Murphy. Has Colin Ford to his right. Slips the pass over to Ford. Right back two-man game to Mann. Mann, quick pass to a rotating Admiran. To Banks for the goal. Tic-tac-toe. And it's Gavin Admiran finding Jacob Banks, who slots it in. 2 goals in a minute. And it's Smith, Admirand, and now Banks, the players involved for the first time today. And the 38th time in just 12 games. Jacob Banks finding Twine. That is now the 3rd point of the afternoon for Gavin Admirand on the assist. And boom, the Beacons back-to-back goals in less than a minute puts them up 5-4. Now some confidence in the center circle as the Beacons have won the last 4. This time it's McNeely following up the Lucozzi win with one of his own. As if it wasn't enough for the Beacons to have 2 of the best Fogos in the LEC, they can alternate them and really give you 2 different looks in the center circle. That must be nice there with the McNeely win. So here's Carson Mezawar up to Liam Bowler. Bowler, one-on-one look against Zach Marvel. He opts for the left-handed dodge. Liam really can just fully play left-handed or right-handed. It's a big asset for the Beacons out along the offensive perimeter. He gets the pass from Mezawar, and now Zach Mann, who has practically been out on the field the entire game up to this point. He's got to love seeing his increase in minutes. He has a goal and 2 assists up to this point. Bowler, that would have been a tough shot. Slings it over to Mann. Mann, right-handed dodge. Oh, bad pass right there. I'm not sure if it got deflected. You can see Zach Gilvar. He's had a nice game defensively for the Panthers. A little bit of a pep in his step and that stride as this one's lofted over the Panthers offense right into the middle of the field. Carey touches it. Colburn puts it between his legs. Carey bats at it, and now 2 players run into each other. It's going to be an easy clear. Oh, the Panthers cannot be happy with that turnover. Banks, crossfield to Mann, and once again, this one was deflected, but they will call it a pass, so no, it goes back to Plymouth State. Once again, 2 possessions in a row with maybe too risky of a crossfield pass when the Beacons could have held firm in the offensive zone, so they give it right back to the Panthers. We're 20 minutes into this game, 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Beacons 5, Panthers 4. It's been a fun one here on a rainy Thursday afternoon at Cotter Field. Gilvar helps out McNichols, and now an easy clear for Zach Gilvar. Carson Mezawar offering some help there on the defensive end, but no trouble getting that ball over to Mike Fleury. Nick Drew, the senior out of Chelmsford. We've seen number 23 with the ball quite a bit. You have the Beacons bench here just yelling towards his defense to move some players around. Mike Fleury, he's open high up top. Great job on the secondary effort there from Mezawar to knock him off his block and prevent the shot. The pick set by Matt Miner. Fleury does get it back to Miner, and now the Panthers once again opting for the long possession. Fay from a dangerous spot working on Colburn, and the body check knocks the ball loose, and Pat Carey angling after it. Caesar Hendricks with a bit of an overrun, and that will be a penalty against the Beacons on a push from the backside. They were inches away from getting it out of the zone, but that's going to go against Carey. Hendricks joining. They both more or less overran the ball, and that leads to a push like that. So, ball stays in the zone for Plymouth State. Crucial opportunity for a clear that the Beacons don't close out on, and it's Nolan Burke. 10 goals, 20 assists on the season. Crossfield pass, he gets it back on the left flank. Swings it back to Miner. Great stick check there from Ranta. The ball still loose on the turf. Oh, Mezawar gets clobbered on the play. He's on top of the ball. Smart play there by Mezawar to just get on top of the ball, and it looks like okay, let's reset the situation here. They're going to say a push from behind will give the ball back to the Beacons. The gripe from Plymouth State is that Mezawar was laying on the ball. You're not allowed to do that. I believe what the refs are going to say is it was the push that caused him to lay on the ball. And so the Beacons, you'll take it. Remember, it's a playoff game. You got to just take what you can get in the second quarter of a one-goal playoff game. You guys just tuning in, remember last season, the LEC semifinal was when the Beacons had that crazy 21-20 game against Mass Maritime. And this game, maybe not going to see as many goals, but it's probably going to be nip and tuck, just like that. We have a timeout on the field. It's the second of two taken by the Beacons, so they'll go the rest of the way without a timeout at their disposal. 8:23 left to go in quarter number 2. Beacons 5, Panthers 4. More after this from the 2023 LEC semifinals after the break on the Beacons Broadcast Network. $8:23 left to go in the second quarter. The Beacons fresh off the timeout. Back underway here is Bowler over to Gavin Admirand. Gavin with 2 goals today. Connor Smith, Zach Mann, and Jacob Banks each with 1. And the Beacons holding a razor-thin 5-4 lead right now as this game has been back and forth the entire way. Plymouth State playing some great defensive lacrosse. Has been giving the Beacons offense issues. 18 shots technically. Only 8 of them on net for the Beacons. Oh, but here's Admirand off the long pass from Bowler. What a rip shot and scores. That's just too much mustard from Gavin Admirand. It's another Liam Bowler assist. He wasted no time letting it fly. And Gavin Admirand, his 3rd goal of the game and his 69th goal of the season, puts the Beacons up by a big 2-goal margin. Their first 2-goal lead of the game. It's Beacons 6, Panthers 4. So Gavin Admirand now with 3 goals and an assist today. 2 assists for Liam Bowler. Another face-off win for McNeely. And look at that nifty pass from Jason McNeely to seal the face-off win. Oh, it's going to have to be a lot of effort from Jacob Banks, and he gets to it to keep it in. That saves the play for McNeely there, who had a nifty pass over the shoulder. Banks bails him out. And now the Beacons, with a 2-goal lead, maybe just going to let this simmer a bit in the offensive zone. Let's see what Chapman decides to do around the 40-yard line. One-on-one look against Aiden O'Loughlin, who's a sophomore midfielder from Londonderry, New Hampshire. Bowler joins the attack. Chapman rolls it over to him, and we'll get Connor Smith joining the fun as well as Darian Clay comes off. So here's Bowler angling to his right. He has Admirand on the X. Directing traffic here is Liam Bowler. One-on-one. Has a man slipping in. It's Smith. Long shot. He bounces it home. Oh, what a touch on that one from Connor Smith as Liam Bowler is now painting a beautiful picture as the point man. His third straight assist. Connor Smith's second goal of the game. His 52nd of the season. And you can see Charlie Chapman in his ear telling him to keep it going. The Beacons, 4 straight goals to take a 7-4 lead. Smith from Bowler, that was a beautiful connection right there. That was the same connection on Smith's earlier goal this afternoon. It's going to be another face-off violation against Leaf Charbonneau. At one point, he had won 3 of the 6 face-offs in this contest. All of a sudden, the Beacon centermen running away with it in the center circle. That's exactly what you need to let a lead swell in a crucial part of the middle of the game, and that's how you do it as Gavin Admiran gets the feed from Darian Clay and slots it through, and the Panthers are going to need to talk it over. 5 straight Beacons goals, 3 in the past minute and a half, and the Beacons take an 8-4 lead with 6:43 left in the second quarter. Oh, what a goal. Admirand again from Clay. Whew. We'll take a quick break here from James Conner Field. 6:43 left to go in the second quarter. Beacons 8, Panthers 4. It was another Gavin Admiran goal, his 70th of the season. Zach Mann, his 3rd assist, his 4th point of the day. The colloquial, they call themselves the Old Man Gang. It's Admiran, Mann, and Connor Smith. About 70 years between the 3 and a lot of points this afternoon and a big second period run for the Beacons right now. 5 straight goals after ceding a 4-3 lead. They score 5 in a row. Smith with 2, Banks with 1, Admirand with 2. The heavy hitters putting the Beacons up 8-4. They have it again here with 6:20 left to go and are looking to really separate themselves from the Plymouth State Panthers. This, if you're Plymouth State, has to be the most touched up your defense has gotten in about 2 months of lacrosse. It was basically the last time they lost the Beacons 21-6 was the last time that they had 8 goals scored against them in the first half of the contest. They are a great team defensively, especially making teams start slow. The Beacons did. It was a 3-3 game through 1, but a big burst of offense, and now you cannot take your foot off the throttle if you are the Beacons. 5 in a row and looking for more, and it's Smith stalking from the X. One-on-one look against O'Loughlin. Dodges to his right. Back out to Admirand. Could have flirted with the shot a little too far away, so it's Murphy. Quickly over to Mann. And now Mann will reset here with 40 on the shot clock. Right-handed dodge into a double team for Zach. He wisely spins off. Keeps the right-handed cradle alive before opting back towards Luke Murphy. Wow, long rip there, just testing McNichols. The Beacons do wind down the shot clock. They get one off. They almost force the turnover, but instead, here's Zach Marvel. Bursting through the middle of the field into the offensive zone for the stop and clear for Plymouth State. They got the stop they desperately needed, trying to tourniquet a leaky defense right now, and their first opportunity to add one back to this 4-goal deficit. Burke has Fleury to his left. Thought about maybe trying to test the waters to Crosby Fay, but he's got 2 defenders right in front of him. And so instead it's Nick Drew. Drew left-handed cradle, back to Dolce Mascolo. Haven't heard his name all that much this afternoon. Minor spins. Oh, and it gets through Trevor Coppy. He had the stick on it, and just that slow roll through. You hate it when it happens to your goalie. You love it when it happens on offense. And for Matt Miner, it's his 11th goal, or pardon me, his 9th goal of the season. He sneaks it underneath Trevor Coppy, and Plymouth State needed one. They get one back. It's 8-5 with 4:45 left to go here in the second quarter. So for the Panthers, Crosby Fay, we expected to hear his name quite a bit. He scored 2 today, 58 and 59 on the season. And Mike Fleury, also a solid goal scorer with 19 on the season after his goal today. But then 2 more assist men in the midfield getting the other 2 goals for Plymouth State, Ryan Hanlon and Matt Miner. Charbonneau in a dangerous spot here. He has to go all the way back, and he threw it away. It got right underneath Nolan Burke, turns it over to Meselwar, and Mann didn't have it. Oh, the Beacons took it away, and they give it right back, though, as Mann towards the sideline. Admiran touches it, and let's see the referee right there on the sideline. He awards it back to Plymouth State. You could see Admiran pleading his case that it went out off the Panthers, but now Plymouth State back to within 3, and back on offense as McNichols threads that pass through to Cam Jenkins, and the freshman out of Shrewsbury takes it across the timeline. Nick Drew over to Nolan Burke. It was the same play from Nolan Burke where a dropped pass just right towards the top of the offensive zone led to an unforced error turnover. He's coming off. We'll get another look at Carl Flinter. Nick Drew getting boxed out by Carson Meselwar. Clay sliding up. Drew fakes the pass towards the middle. Gets the pass over to Flinter. Oh, Fay in a dangerous spot, and he does score off the right post and in. It's a hat trick for Crosby Fay, and he is now a 60-goal scorer. Got to give the man his flowers. Number 10, a junior out of Waterville Valley, New Hampshire. So we're going to have to deal with him next year too, guys. But 60 goals for Crosby Fay, that's what he does. Just 5 assists on the season, but goal number 60 and his 3rd today gets Plymouth State right back to within 2. It's Beacons 8, Panthers 6. We knew that we were headed towards a game like this. 5 straight goals for the Beacons, 2 straight for Plymouth State, but a huge win for McNeely. He'll angle over towards the sideline into the offensive zone for the clear, and the Beacons a big face-off win to try and put a halt to this 2-goal run for Plymouth State. Murphy, left-handed dodge, thought about the right-handed shot. He comes back center, lets Liam Bowler join the attack. Connor Smith going to join the fun as well. So it's Bowler, Smith, Murphy up top, Mann, Admirant, and Banks down underneath towards the net. 3 minutes on a running clock here on Connor Field. The Beacons holding a 2-goal lead. Have to assume they're not in any hurry on this possession. Bowler, he asked for the double team and gets it. Now a quick chop step to free some room. Liam with the right-handed cradle. Spins. Doesn't clear up any room, but it gets it over to Smith. Smith gets a double team, keeps the cradle alive, and has Banks with some room. Banks, chop step, working around his defender Bonazzoli, and he's able to stick with Banks, knock it free. Jack Bonazzoli, pardon me for botching your name just then, but a phenomenal play to take it away from Jacob Banks, who that doesn't happen to all that often in a dangerous spot. But that pass is just intercepted, and here's Murphy, 30, 25, 20, and he will shoot and miss the shot. He almost got himself a pick 6, if you will, but the ball will stay with the Beacons behind the net. Luke Murphy, he's showing you why he's an All-American, just as stalwart on defense as he is a threat on offense. And now Bowler getting it started once again from the high side of the offense. Smith, a nice dodge to free up some space. Mann thought about the shot for a split second. He'll let it wind over to Murphy, and once again, the ball finds Liam Bowler. He's been initiating the attack today. That shot bounced over Owen McNichols. Gavin Admiran closest to it. It'll stay with the Beaks. Shot clock. Reset slight. So 60 now. And 1:53 on a running clock here in the second quarter. If you're the Beaks, the dream scenario here, get a goal on this possession and then win the faceoff. Go into halftime with a 3-goal lead. You just don't. Oh, Liam Bowler, rip shot there. Almost beats McNichol on the near side post. Banks covers it. What you don't want to do is let this possession end too early and that let Plymouth State get another look to make this a 1-goal game before halftime. Banks to Admirand. Just like a calm seems to cover the offense whenever Admiran gets the ball. That was shot ripped from Smith. He misses it wide. Banks is on it with 1:34 left in the quarter. Going to be flirting with the shot clock pretty shortly here, so Bowler a bit more pep in his step as the Beacons speeding up this offensive look around the perimeter. Man to Smith to Murphy. He had some room. Instead, he looks for Banks. Banks, quick pass to a cutting man. What a save by Owen McNichols. Unbelievable read. He's a phenomenal goaltender. He goes low and to the right and keeps that one out. That was the look the Beacons wanted to try and take a 3-goal lead into halftime. Instead, winded back up as number 40 with a highlight save. Murphy through 2, through 3 to Admiran, and he scores! Wow! Luke Murphy, thank you, taking on 3 defenders. That's the easiest goal of Gavin Admiran's career, his 71st of the season. And thank you to Max Clifford for telling me this. Gavin Admiran is now 1 point away from the single-season points record. He has 5 goals already this afternoon, 5 of the Beacons' 9, and with 62 seconds left in the half, that is a huge goal to put the Beaks back up 3. It's UMass Boston 9, Plymouth State 6. Luke Murphy on the assist. Oh, it doesn't get any prettier than that. I just mentioned he shows you why he's an All-American. A lot of that just has to do with being stronger and bigger than the other defenders. Some good defenders joined the defense against Luke Murphy, 3 of them to be in fact, and including the man that was marking Gavin Admiran. And when that happens, he's able to slide the pass over to an unmarked G who doesn't waste his opportunity. So Gavin is now 1 point away from setting the Beacons single-season points record. Would love to have that be part of a playoff win. We go around the perimeter here. Fleury, left-handed cradle shot, and he scores his 2nd goal of the season. Oh, he had a body in front screening him, and Mike Fleury letting it rip. The hard lefty shot. Just when you think you have an angle against these guys, they answer right back. And for Mike Fleury, it is his 2nd goal of the day and his 20th goal of the season. A big rip out of number 39 gets us back to within 2. Beacons 9, Panthers 6. Have a feeling it's going to be like this. Sorry about that, pardon me. I said 9-6. Beacons 9, Panthers 7. It is a 2-goal game, and it will probably be a differential close to that for the remainder of this contest. Mezawar comes in, helps out the front with the face-off win, and takes on 2 defenders, just walking it right into trouble. A bit of a flop there. I just got to call it like it is. You could think Mezawar was trying to set up the penalty call against the Panthers. It is knocked out by Plymouth State. He doesn't draw the flag, but ultimately the goal is accomplished. The Beacons get the ball with the final 18 seconds left in the quarter. This is a nice opportunity here to take a 4-goal lead into the half. Don't need to tell you guys how much more comfortable that would feel at 10-6 than 9-6. Smith with 9 seconds on a running clock. One-on-one look. Low shot. Oh, it's off the stick, and the rebound does get out to Bonazzoli. He's had a phenomenal first half of defense, and he gets one more stop to bring us to the end of half number 1. 30 minutes of lacrosse. The Beacons, they have the lead, but Plymouth State got to feel good about their showing as well. We'll take a 10-minute break here on the Beacon, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will have the halftime numbers. Right now, your score at halftime, the UMass Boston Beacons 9, the Plymouth State Panthers 7. Halftime numbers after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, presented on LittleEast.tv. Halftime here at James Cotter Field. It's a close contest between the Beaks and the Plymouth State Panthers. Plymouth State, the 3 seed, your Beacons, the 2 seed. The winner of today's game will face the winner of tonight's 1 versus 4 matchup, which is the 1 seed WestCon hosting the 4 seed Keene State College. Side by side here, you can see the Beacons have gotten more shots off. Whether or not they were more high quality shots, well, I think the scoreboard will dictate that they're pretty similar amount of looks, realistically. The Beacons leading right now 9-7. Technically, 11 shots from Plymouth State. 11 shots, and they've scored on 7 of them. Just 4 saves out of Trevor Coppy. Owen McNichols, he's been busy with 10 saves of his own. The Beacons, you do have to love this. 10 more ground balls than Plymouth State. They fielded 20 to the Panthers 10. Gavin Admiran, the far and away the story of the first half. 5 goals for the Beacons, an assist as well. He is now tied the Beacons' single-season points record at 117. His next point scored will break the record. If he scores 2 more goals, he will have tied the Beacons' single-season goal record. So, milestone watch, aside from the ultra-important playoff game in front of us right now. Connor Smith with 2 goals. Jacob Banks and Zach Mann rounding it out for the Beacons. And 7 goals scored by Plymouth State, 2 from Mike Fleury, 3 from Crosby Fay, and 1 each for Ryan Hanlon and Matt Minor. We got to take a look at the scoreboard here. 7 minutes until we start quarter number 3, so don't go too far because we won't either. We'll be back with the second half after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, presented on LittleEast.tv. All right, well, we will rejoin the action here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Del Sordo, bringing you the action on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Halftime here, the Beacons leading the Panthers 9-7, and what a game we have had up to this point. Owen McNichols, the goalie for the Panthers, showing out with 10 saves already. It's been an efficient offensive attack for Plymouth State. 7 goals on just 11 shots, but the Beacons 9 shots and a burst of 5 goals within 4 minutes in the second quarter have them up 9-7. Another Jason McNeely face-off win. He's only lost 2 this afternoon. Clay helps with the clear, and the Beacons will start quarter number 3 with the ball. Bowler skies up, gets the pass, gets around 8-0 Laughlin, and now looks across the field to Banks. Banks to Clay, not where he's comfortable with the ball there, and 2 long poles converging, but the ball turned over. Admirand puts it over his shoulder. I thought the angle on that was going to get in. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if Gavin realized he had it. The Beacons almost jumping out to an early goal here. Banks riding O'Laughlin from the backside. Just completely cuts him off. He can cover all 115 yards on the field. And that pass right over the head. Mezawar, though, wasn't quick enough to it as this one is still loose. Finally picked up by Dolce Mascolo. Burke for the 3rd time with a ball over his head. And Mezawar overran it, so it stays with the Panthers. And Nolan Burke on the offensive front. 1 possession, 1 stop for the Panthers on defense. Let's see what their first offensive possession brings. They've taken just 11 shots, 4 saves for Trevor Coppy. They've scored 7 times. They haven't been letting it rip, but they have been finding the target. And Burke spinning. Fay drops in. He was open. The pass goes over his head. It gets out to Nick Drew, who lets a long shot rip. He misses it well wide to the right, but it stays with Dolce Mascolo, who can walk it back in for Plymouth State. Around 20 on the shot clock to shoot here for Jake Dolce Mascolo. Had Drew to his left, goes up top to Burke. Fleury, he has 2 goals today, has Darian Clay just completely walling him off. Fleury's going to have to make something happen around the top of the defense here. 2 seconds to shoot. Fleury, let's see. No, he doesn't get it off in time. Right into the stick of Trevor Coppy. Shot clock violation against the Panthers. And now the Beacons quickly back up the field the other way. 1 possession, 1 stop. As the intensity grows here as we're in the second half of this playoff game. That pass was low. I'm not sure what happened there as Murphy. Uncharacteristic for Luke Murphy there. He tries to shovel it over to Banks. And it was just too low. Now here's Plymouth State spreading out the Beacons in the offensive zone here for the clear. McNichol has options on either side. He opts to loft the pass over Banks and finds his man in stride. It's Nick Drew. Goes all the way in and gets the shot off. Pardon me, that was number 16, Mark Hersham. The hustle to the ball won by Patrick Carey. Big defensive possession there for the Beaks as Hersham took that one all the way through from the clear. He gets a shot off. And nobody there for the Panthers gets to it in time. That one's over the head of Bowler, but it gets to Smith. Quickly to Admiran behind the net. He's one-on-one with Hersham here with an angle. Lost the pass over to Bowler, who wasn't expecting it, but he gets it in time. And Timothy Sullivan joining the attack for the Beaks. Bowler, chop step move. He spins. He gets his man on the ground. He's going to fire the lefty shot, and McNichols reads it. He's able to go up with it and keep it out of the net as Liam Bowler opts for the lefty shot. Save made for McNichols, his 11th of the contest. And we're still at 9-7 here in the third quarter. McNichols, we saw him do this last possession, seeing what kind of room he can get to help for the clear. He gets it to Cam Jenkins. Well executed there by Plymouth State. And now Ryan Hanlon, who has a goal today, getting the show started on offense here. Working on Ranta. Really nice job there by Ryan Hanlon to just get Jack Ranta off his case, and that allows for the crossfield pass. The Panthers will wind it back out here as Carl Flinter with the left-handed dodge, working on Connor Smith. McCullough shades to his left. Smith follows Flinter all the way behind the net. Flinter over to Crosby Fay. Spins Patrick Colburn. Cuts him off the shot, but look at Crosby Fay. He fights through the Colburn defense, gets down on the ground, and puts it into the back of the net. His 4th goal of the day, his 61st of the season, and that's a man no short of confidence, Crosby Fay. With some words for the Beacons bench after that goal, it brings Plymouth State back to within 1 as they have scored 3 of the game's last 4 goals. Beacons 9, Panthers 8, Crosby Fay, just like Gavin Admirand. arriving for his moment here in the LEC playoffs. And a big face-off win for Leek Charbonneau, but he doesn't field it cleanly. It's still in the circle. Mezawar and Cullah trying to add some assistance, but O'Laughlin going to use the ref for a little bit of a screen there and finish off the face-off win for the Panthers, who are now in their offensive zone with a chance to tie this game up. Burke and Fleury. Fleury, nice little offensive performance out of him with 2 goals today. Crosby Faye, 4 of the Panthers' 8. He scored 5 of their 9 in their win against Keene State in their final regular season game. Just 2 goals in their playoff game win. They didn't need him all that much. Beautiful pass slipped through, but it's out of reach of Nolan Burke. Wow, it got through 3 Beacons before Trevor Coppy plucks it out of trouble and finds Caesar Hendricks. And now the Beacons with numbers. Hendricks, the freshman out of Mass Pete Mass, over to Mann. No, it was right in front on the doorstep, and Mann pulls the shot wide to the left. Luckily for the Beaks, Banks is closest to it. Oh, Hendricks thought he had that set up for Mann. It was right on the doorstep, but the Beacons still up just 2. Gotta love that hustle from the true freshman there, Caesar Hendricks. And now here's a junior, Jacob Banks, out of Westminster, Mass. Gets spun off his block. Beacons in no rush, wisely, as Timothy Sullivan angles to his left. Gets spun off. That ball was deflected as Timothy tried to kind of force a low shot through there. Of the 13 saves, Owen McNichols has made, far and away his easiest one. But he corrals it, and once again, he's able to just prance on towards the Beacons' offensive zone, and he's not going to get picked up until Carson Mezawar touches him right now, and this is dangerous. Crosby Faye gets the shovel pass. Darian Clay is going to have to stay on the field and play defense, and you probably have a couple Beacons on the defensive part of the field right now, a little more winded than you want. Murphy right now, he's tucked on the offensive side of the field. And so Plymouth State, they have to like the personnel mismatch they have here. Mezawar trying to front Hanlon. He has a goal today. They try to slip the pass inside to Ryan Jones. He can't field it cleanly. And Zach Mann back. Oh, wow. Patrick Carey needed to help him out there. Mann didn't have any assistance. He somehow keeps the cradle alive. He's on the ground. Ball is underneath him. And that will be a procedure penalty against Zach Mann. But it looks like he might be hurt on the play. He was able to keep that cradle alive through 3 defenders. If Patrick Carey had his head turned, that would have helped for the clear. Instead, it stays in the zone now. And Carl Flinter and Plymouth State with another chance to tie this game up. 9 minutes left in the third quarter. Beacons 9, Panthers 8. Flinter, the senior from Pittsburgh. Over to Jones. Jones wasn't ready for it. And Clay has the step on Ryan Jones. And here comes Darian Clay. This time, the Beacons are there for the clear. And Clay with a nice little woodshed move to knock his defender off the play. Admiran, he has Murphy who scores! Luke Murphy, he was stuck on that side of the field for quite some time, so he joined the offensive attack. And Admiran has just set the single-season points record with a beautiful little assist to Luke Murphy. 118 points this season now for Gavin Admiran, and Luke Murphy scores his 20th goal of the season. It's a huge goal at that, putting the Beacons back up 2. It's 10-8. With Luke Murphy hitting the 20-goal mark, folks, that is 6 different Beacons over 20 goals on the season. They had 6 last year, 6 more this season, and a huge goal for the All-American Luke Murphy to get the Beacons up 2. And once again, McNeely clutch in the face-off circle. Another big dub for Jason McNeely as Murphy right back in a dangerous spot again. That was deflected on the pass to Banks, but it gets to Admirant. Gavin. Up top to Banks, Banks on the right side of the field. That's Murphy, and now Charlie Chapman has it around the 40-yard line. Bowler onto the field. Bowler, Murphy, and Chapman on the first line of the midfield. Chapman gets past the first wave of defense. Keeps the ball on his stick. Opts to go to Admiran behind the X. Now Mick Flynn, he's going to sneak into the attack here, get the pass from Gavin Admiran. The Beacons holding a 2-goal lead, 10-8. Winding some clock here in this third quarter as Bowler. Big day for him with 3 assists. Fakes the pass over to Flynn. Now looking in the direction of Mick Flynn and gets it to him. Low pass. Mick picks it up at the top of his shoes. Right-handed cradle. He'll take it to the X. Smith wants it. Connor Smith with 2 goals on the day. Back to the net. Up top to Bowler. Gets off the stick of Bowler. He'll recover, and now here's Chapman in a dangerous spot. Over to Banks. Back to Bowler. Long shot for Bowler, and it's right into the stick of Owen McNichols. He's a phenomenal goalie. That didn't test him all that much, and that is 15 saves for number 40, Owen McNichols. A nice pass finds Zach Marvel, and the clear for the Panthers now. And a man unmarked coming through the midfield, Cam Jenkins, down low, but a save made from Trevor Coppy. Just stonewalling Matt Miner on the doorstep. Good stop for the Beaks, and now they look to make some moves in transition. Carey tips it to himself, has Banks to his right. Carey to Admiran across the field. Admiran stops at the slot and gets it to Banks. I think the Beacons are going to want to slow down this look here, unless Chapman can let it rip, and he misses just wide to the left. But Smith closest to it, and the Beacons will reset this offensive possession. 6:50 on a running clock now, as Connor Smith one-on-one with Mark Hersham. Smith right-handed dodge, trying to keep that spin alive. That stick from Hersham finding some of Smith's body there. He almost knocked the ball free. Now Murphy. Right around the defense. Right-handed shot. It's off the crossbar, but it's out to Chapman. Quick pass. Admiran shot. Oh, that is off the face mask. Oh, my goodness. Man looks to be okay on the play. That was Joey Lober, the sophomore defender out of Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Left hand on his helmet, because why wouldn't it be? He just took an absolute shot, and he gets his bearings right now on the ground. Almost looked to get up on the play, just getting some assistance.
Katie, turn the camera away. Katie.
He's getting 10-2 by his coaching staff right now. We have the referees going to take a look as well. Right now, it's just the Plymouth State medical staff and coaching staff working on number 20, Joey Lober. But we'll keep you posted. This is a player, Joey Lober. He scored in the game here on Cotter Field last season. One of his rare collegiate goals in that, I believe it was a 19-8 win for the Beacons last season. He's up right now on his own 2 feet. Not going to say that he's looking too sturdy on those 2 feet right now. But he will make his way off the field. He'll do it delicately. That was an absolute shot, like a bazooka. I'm trying to think of the most powerful type of quick-release shot you can think of right now. Maybe a musket out of Gavin Admirand. Lober, about 2 yards away from him, he ate every bit of that shot. Looks to be okay here. Probably still feeling that ball up against his left temple. So Lober's off. The ball will stay with the Beaks as Admirand. No, pardon me. It's actually on the Plymouth State side of the field, so it's not Admirand starting with it. Instead, it's Chapman off the Murphy pass. They do take it into the offensive zone. And now Chapman, with some room to operate, Cam Jenkins, the freshman, fronting him. Two similar-looking players right there out on the midfield as Chapman spins off Jenkins, back to Murphy. Banks, he had a lot of momentum there. He wanted to rifle into that shot. Can't field it cleanly, opts for the hockey pass over to Murphy, and it's not fielded cleanly by Murphy. Instead, Jack Bonazzoli takes it through trouble, and here's Plymouth State, still within 2 goals, back on offense. The Beacons, big opportunity there. Scary moment for the Panthers, but it ultimately leads to a defensive stop. Let's see if it's Smith or Mann joining the attack for the Beaks. Well, it's Nick Drew joining the fun for the Panthers, and he has it now on the 30-yard line here on towards the right sideline. Nick Drew. Back up top to Nolan Burke. Burke, right-handed cradle. Oh, he beats 2 defenders with a jab step. That sets up Fay, but the save made from Trevor Coppy. Wow, Crosby Fay, it's so hard. That's going to be a crease violation against the Beacons. Wow, so it'll go right back. It's so hard to stonewall Crosby Fay in short space like that, and that's the save of the day for Coppy, and that ball is still loose. It should have been picked up by the Beaks, and it is finally by Darian Clay, and the Beacons do dodge that bullet. While both teams, I think, would have expected probably more out of their last 2 offensive possessions. The Beaks with a chance to set the record. Banks. Oh, beautiful pass to Admiran, but it wasn't inside his pocket, and it's loose. Banks, he threaded that pass through 2 defenders. It got into Gavin Admirand's pocket. Banks almost forces the interception. That ride from Admirand and Banks, the back check, if you will, it's been absolutely phenomenal. But the clear for Hersham, and he's got room to run. He's past Banks. Banks with a ride at the last second, tips it free, and Trevor Coppy, closest to it, will get it back to the Beaks. We've only seen 1 goal from each team here in the third quarter, as what we've expected to happen has. Plymouth State pulling out all the stops defensively. The Beacons have been able to answer tit for tat. It's 10-8 right now. Beacons with Luke Murphy in a bit of traffic here in the middle of his offensive zone. Flips it up over to Carson Mezawar. Here's the freshman, Mezawar, in a big spot. Now, and he just takes on a defender, and he gets bottled up on the play by Zach Marvel. Can't think that was what was drawn up on that play there. And now Mezawar on an island with Marvel, and Zach Marvel gets past him. He's only 10 yards away from the clear. Admirand trying to stop his momentum. Mezawar back on. Admirand staying off. Bowler almost with the stick check, but the run will stay alive from Aiden O'Laughlin. So the Beacons failing in that midfield there to put it back into their zone. And now Plymouth State, smart decision to wind it back in the direction of Ryan Hanlon. Hanlon, 5 goals on the season, scored his 5th today. Has Liam Brown now. First time seeing this junior midfielder in the offensive attack. Crosby Faye is open. He gets hit on the play, and he scores. Unbelievable. Patrick Carey, I thought he had it closed out. Crosby Faye had a millisecond to get rid of that one. And for the 5th time today, and the 62nd time this season, it's Crosby Faye finding Twine. Plymouth State, they're a strong team, and they show some mental fortitude right there, staying in this contest, bringing it back to within 1. It's Beacons 10, Panthers 9. Crosby Faye now 162 shots on the season, and he scored 62 goals on those 162 shots. Just an elite goal scorer, keeping his team very much in this contest here on Connor Field. 3:20 left in the third quarter. Beacons holding a 1-goal lead. Plymouth State giving the Beacons everything they can handle and then some. This very much has the feel of a heavyweight 2-3 fight here in the conference semifinals. Chapman takes on his mark, puts the head down, can't free up some space. That doesn't usually dissuade Chapman. Gets the shot off, misses it wide left. I think the Beacons got lucky there as Admirand awarded closest to the ball. Hersham was in the vicinity as well. Admirand's going to quickly send it into Connor Smith. 2:55 on a running clock now. The Beacons up 10-9. Smith to Mann. He has a goal and 2 assists today. Mann gets a pick from Chapman. Hands it off to Gavin Admirand. Admirand shot. Oh, had a nice angle. Misses high into the right. Greg Wolf out on the field for the Beacons. He's closest to it. And now Wolf will walk it in. Wolf working on Joey Lusardo. Scored 3 goals his last contest against Castleton. He lost it there. Tries to chop it free, but it's picked up by Cam Jenkins. We've seen the freshman do a lot of clearing for the Panthers this afternoon. Now he'll join the fun offensively. Swings a pass over to Minor, to Dolce Mascolo, but it's tipped and picked off by Carey. Beautiful read by Patrick Carey. Right in the middle of the defense. He takes on all 3 defenders, and now he's around Carl Flinter. Carey spins, still can't find the pass off to Liam Bowler, and now Luke Murphy's going to bail him out here on the backside of the play. Stops it with his body, takes a step up to the seam, and now Murphy had some room to go vertically right down into the Plymouth State Panthers defense, but once again, Mann was on it momentarily, and he lost it. And now Mann, stuck in a bad spot there, almost got away with a slash. I guess he did get away with it. Good defensive stop for Mann as McCullough gets the pickup, and now Murphy to Ranta to Admirand from his knees. That ball got into McCullough, not the player you want there to come into the seam and try and finish that shot. It got to him. He couldn't get the shot off. Got to hand it to Gavin Admirand. He kept that play going with his knees on the ground, but ball turned over. And now Nolan Burke. The Panthers with a chance to tie. Crosby Faye into the middle. Dolce Mascolo scores. He goes high, puts it down low, and scores. And there's going to be a delayed flag picked up for the Beacons as Jake Dolce Mascolo scores for his first goal of the game, but his 37th goal of the season. And Crosby Faye, we know him as the goal scorer. He gets the primetime assist right there. Just his 6th of the year. They don't ask how many. They ask if you got it done when you needed to. Faye with the assist, Dolce Mascolo with the goal. And folks, we are knotted up at 10 apiece. Plymouth State outscoring the Beacons 3-1. They've scored in the third quarter, and they've scored the last 3 goals in this third quarter. Jason McNeely, he has been Johnny on the spot in that center circle, and the Beacons need a nice performance out of him against Leaf Charbonneau. Charbonneau looked to have the early advantage on it. McNeely retreats. He wins the draw and gets it back to Pat Carey. Carey flustered by Crosby Faye in the middle of the offensive or of the defensive zone. He gets around Faye, gets the ball ahead to Justin McCullough. J-Mac an inch away from finishing off that play from Admirand. Instead, it led to a Jake Dolce Mascolo goal on the other end. Chapman has it. The Beacons probably going to hold for the final shot if that is what Plymouth State gives them. We're tied at 10. 54 on a running clock here in the third quarter. The winner moves on to the LEC Conference Championship game, and the loser, well, that does it for the season. Bowler has Bonazzoli in front of him. The pass goes from Chapman over to McFlynn. Flynn back up top to Charlie. Chapman continues the dodge and shot. He scored! Charlie Chapman! He comes alive in the playoffs. That play wasn't going anywhere, and so Charlie takes matters into his own hands. Bar down for Charlie Chapman, his 29th goal of the season. What a clutch goal for Charlie. And the Beacons back up one, 11-10. The junior out of Sandwich, Massachusetts. He always wants the ball in his stick. He's one of the most clutch players on the Beacons team. And for the first time today, and the 29th time this season, Charlie Chapman finds twine, and the Beaks a huge goal with 32.8 left in the third quarter. They're back up one, 11-10. We've really only seen Jason McNeely in the Fogo circle right now for the Beaks, as he has won another draw. Those stats astronomically good for McNeely. And now the Beacons, with 15 seconds left in the quarter, can just hold for a good look. Hendricks just looking for some room here. 10 seconds left. He has 3 defenders. He gets yard sailed on the play. That'll be covered. Oh, there's going to be a hold on the play called against Plymouth State. And so the Beacons, with 3.6 seconds left, they're going to get a chance at one last shot here in the quarter. Let's see. We're wound in. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. Admirant's just going to float it up, and that will do it for quarter number 3. It was Plymouth State for the first 14 minutes owning the third quarter, and the Beacons get one back thanks to Charlie Chapman to put them up one as we head into the final 15 minutes. For one of these two teams, this will be the last 15 minutes of lacrosse. We'll see what happens. The conclusion coming up here on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you on LittleEast.tv. Well, for most of the day, it was a dreary, gray, cloudy afternoon here on Cotter Field. We have some energy here on these sidelines as there's 15 minutes left in the 2023 LEC Conference Semifinals between your 2-seeded UMass Boston Beacons and the 3-seed, the Plymouth State Panthers. The Beacons up by just 1. 11-10 the score right now. 5 Gavin Admiran goals pacing the Beacons. They scored just twice in the third quarter, but Luke Murphy and Charlie Chapman, each their clutch first goals of the contest, putting the Beacons up 1. And Smith, oh, he tests the post. It misses wide right. Winning the race to the ball is going to be Mark Hersham, and the Beacons were an inch away from a 2-goal lead. Instead, it's ball right back to the Panthers to get the quarter started. Ball successfully cleared by Joey Lizardo. He hands it off to Mike Fleury, and now Plymouth State. See what they'll do on offense here. You hear that Coach Weil is telling his team to wind it behind the net. Right now, that would be Matt Miner. He doesn't seem ready for it. They're directing traffic, and now Jake Dolcemascolo floats open, and he gets the pass from the X. Working on Patrick Colburn. Dolcemascolo spins it off. It's dropped by Fay. It's loose behind the net, and Trevor Coppy escapes the crease and goes to pick it up. Trevor Coppy seeing the ball a bit better as this game has progressed and goes out, makes the right decision. And now a big clear in front of the Beaks here. Colburn lofts the pass over Fay. Beautiful touch on that one as it gets into Carey. They don't call the offsides on Fay. He's stuck on the offensive side of the field. Now here's Murphy right around Nolan Burke. Murphy angles it off. The Beacons not going to be really in any hurry for the remainder of this quarter as they're just nursing this 1-goal lead. Smith, what a great pass from Bowler as Smith dodges in. Oh, the shot is banked. Low to Banks, and a save made by McNichols. Unbelievable as Banks, he thought he had the wide open net. McNichols all the way on the left post. He comes across, and he gets his stick on it, and the Panthers win the race to the ball. Oh, the Beacons 2 possessions in a row, inches away from taking the 2-goal lead. Instead, the Panthers now with a chance to tie again. Burke flustered by Sean Cullen. He swings the pass over to Nick Drew. Plymouth State dotting their I's and crossing their T's right now, just to make sure that their offensive personnel in the proper alignment. Jacob Banks frustrated as he makes his way back onto the offensive side of the field. Here's Mike Fleury in a dangerous spot. Over to Dolce-Mascolo behind the net. To Burke. Lost it again. McCullough almost picked it up. Somehow it gets deflected back to Burke. To Minor. To Dolce-Mascolo. And it goes back out to Burke. Burke thought about the long shot. Dances around Bowler. Shoots it low. Misses it well wide. Jake Dolce-Mascolo closest to it. 12 minutes, 36 seconds left to go here in this fourth and final quarter. What a game it's been. 5 goals for Gavin Admiran for the Beaks, but 5 for Crosby Fay for the Panthers. The heavy hitters coming up in the clutch here in this playoff contest. Nick Drew. Bottled up by Cullen. Bowler comes over and finishes the play, and Cullen picks it up. Sean Cullen, what he lacks in size, he makes up for more than enough moxie, and he gets the stop and the clear, and Gavin Admiran slowing it down for the Beacons on offense. What a play by number 0, Sean Cullen, to get that one back to the Beaks. And now here's Mann. Had a player in the slot. It's Smith. Crazy over-the-shoulder shot from Smith there. It does stay with the Beacons now as Admiran gets it on the far sideline. Beacons 11, Panthers 10. This is the 4th different opportunity of the quarter. Admiran lets it rip. That one's deflected kind of halfway in towards the net. It takes a high bounce, and it goes right back to Murphy at like the 25-yard line. So the Beacons barely cede any ground here. But this is the 4th possession in the quarter, holding on to this 1-goal lead. Haven't been able to get past Owen McNichols at all in the 4th quarter, and just have beaten him twice in the second half. Murphy over to Jacob Banks. Quick dodge step, frees up some room. Back out to Murphy. Crossfield pass to Chapman. Quick pass to Smith. Shot. Oh, and he misses. Connor tried to tuck that one inside the left post. Great look there from Chapman to Smith. He pulls the shot wide. 20 on the shot clock here as Banks walks it back in for the Beaks. Gives it to Luke Murphy. And now here's Charlie Chapman. Just scored the goal to put the Beacons up 11-10. Charlie's next would be his 30th of the season. He swings the pass over to Connor Smith. Smith ambles to his right. Quick pass over to Zach Mann. 10 seconds to shoot. Pass to Banks. You got to like the creativity, but the execution not there as the Beacons had about 5 left on the shot clock, and the pass doesn't find Jacob Banks. You can see some frustration building with Banks a little bit. He has a goal and an assist today. Haven't heard all that much from him. Owen McNichols, they asked him to do this about 3 times in the 3rd quarter, help out with a clear, and that's a beautifully placed pass into Joey Lasardo. Panthers into the offensive zone, another chance to tie it up as Jake Dolce-Mascolo ambles over to his right, finds Matt Minor. Panthers keeping this offense spread out around the perimeter. Flinter over to Ryan Hanlon. He scored just his 5th goal of the season earlier on in the 2nd quarter of this contest. Now here's Liam Brown. Blocked out by Jack Ranta. Ranta retreats. It gives some room for Flinter to Dolce-Mascolo. That's Dolce-Mascolo in front, and Trevor Coppy says no, and Mezawar scoops it out of midair, gets it ahead to Murphy. The Beacons defense just as much up to the task as Plymouth State. Murphy to Smith to Admiran, who takes his time, finds Carey, and the shot goes high. Patrick Carey was stalking in on the backside of that play. There will be a penalty on the play against Plymouth State. Wow, Patrick Carey almost putting the Beacons up 2. Waiting for the official call right here. So it's going to be a man-up opportunity for the Beaks for a minute. Guilty party, Matt Minor, the sophomore attackman from Chelmsford, Mass. Want a man-up right now? There we go. Okay, so there's the confirmation. It's not minor, pardon me. It's Flinter, personal foul. And the Beacons do have a man-up opportunity. This is just their fourth man-up opportunity of the contest. 0 for 3 in their prior 3. So this is they need one here. Clutch time to focus on the execution. Smith to Admiran behind the net. Murphy's unmarked. Murphy scores! Tucks it inside the right post and in. He finds the angle. It didn't look to be there, but the All-American showing you why. Luke Murphy, for the second time today and the 21st time this season, the man comes alive in the LEC Conference playoffs. That is a huge goal to put the Beaks back up to 12-10. That assist goes to Gavin Admiran. Max Lifford, thank you for the heads up right here. He's everywhere, stats and information today, folks. That is an assist for Gavin Admiran, and that ties the career. Is that the career assist record as well?
Yeah, career assist record.
Ties the career assist record. He has now set the career points record. 2 goals away from the career goal or the season goal record. We'll cover that again once we have some time to enjoy that maybe. As the Beacons, they get it back, but then a bad play there for Murphy after the faceoff. That's going to be a push against Pat Carey on the backside, and ball will stay with Plymouth State. Yeah, we'll cover how great Gavin Admiran is when we really get a chance to enjoy it. Right now, Plymouth State down by 2, but that hasn't really been a problem for them over the course of this contest. They still look confident. Ball in their offensive zone. Minor plays it back to Nolan Burke, and we're back underway. Resetting the stage here for you, 9:22 on a running clock. The winner to the LEC Conference Championship game. The loser, well, hey, it was a great season, but that will do it. And right now, the Beacons holding a 2-goal lead. But this is a dangerous player, Jake Dolcemascolo. He has a goal today, swings the pass over to Matt Minor. There's a whistle on the play. That's a crease violation. I'm not sure if it's going to go against Faye or Dolcemascolo. If it's against Jake Dolcemascolo, that's the 3rd time he's been called for that this afternoon. Big turnover for the Beaks, whose defense had really been the elephant in the room of the whole regular season, their regular even strength defense. And today, especially in the second half, it is up to the task. Connor Smith has a man behind him. He had no idea he had a man behind him. The sideline was trying to warn him, but that's a turnover forced by Aiden O'Loughlin. Bowler took it back, and he'll get the call. It'll go against Bowler. So a nice play there for Aiden O'Loughlin. The sophomore takes it away from Connor Smith, survives the ride, and puts it right back into the offensive zone for Plymouth State. Matt Minor, he's had the ball so much today, comes into the action now with 9 goals. He scored his 9th earlier this contest. Back up top to Nolan Burke. Burke spinning, keeps his balance against Mezawar. Has to go across the field. Now it's Minor. Passes it to Faye. Faye in a dangerous spot against Colburn, but Copy reaches up and says no. PC 17 with the defense as he walls off that left post. Forces the tough angle shot from Faye. Copy another save. He has really come alive this second half. And the Beacons with a chance to go up 3. Sounds like we have a timeout on the field, and it's actually a timeout taken by the Beacons. And so Coach Lowe in a position to give the Beacons a 3-goal lead, wants to draw it up right. They'll take a timeout on the field. We'll take a timeout in the booth. 7:53 left to go. Beacons 12, Panthers 10. Buckle up, folks. We'll wind it on up when we come back on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, presented on LittleEast.tv. James Cotterfield, the setting. What a playoff game we have for you this afternoon. Your Beacons holding a delicate 2-goal lead at the hands of the number 3 seed, the Plymouth State Panthers, right here out on the turf on Cotter Field. The Beacons with the ball right now, 7:53 left to go, and Chapman winds it into Bowler.
Oh, the time that we don't work. It doesn't work. Thank you.
Now Bowler with an angle dodge. He takes on 2 defenders, trying to free up some room for Admiran, but it frees up Mann at the top of the field. Mann, drop step, over to Chapman. Charlie fakes the long shot, gets it back up to Zach. To Admiran. The Beacons really seeing what's here around the perimeter to be had, and now it's Gavin Admiran, 72 goals on the season. 5 today. In the middle to Smith, and he missed it. Wow. I'm not sure if McNichols got a stick on that or not, but that was Connor Smith on the doorstep, denied by Owen McNichols. Ball back to Liam Bowler. Bowler falls on the play. He gets the pass to Banks. The Beacons needed that. Chapman fakes the pass to his left. Now Charlie one-on-one with Jack Bonazzoli. He's had a phenomenal game defensively for the Panthers, has number 32. Chapman with the wide-angle dodge around him. 7 minutes now left in this contest. Bowler spins off Gilvar. Gets it to Banks. Quiet afternoon for Jacob Banks. Will he announce himself here? Left-handed dodge. Shot misses wide. There are 4 sticks around it. Admiran wins the race to it. Sounds like there's going to be just 4 left on the shot clock. That pass hustled into Banks. He can't corral it. And so Plymouth State gets the stop they were counting on. And Zach Marvel, another phenomenal job beating the Beacons' midfield defense and getting it into the offensive zone. He shovels the pass over to Nolan Burke, and Plymouth State once again setting up shop here in quarter number 4, and they will take their first timeout of the second half. This game has slowed down quite a bit. The Beacons liking the pace that it's at, can't be in love with it, but holding a 2-goal lead. 6:32 left to go. We'll take another break here on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv. Here we go. 6.5 minutes left. The Beacons holding a 2-goal lead. The winner of this contest is on to the conference championship. But Mike Fleury and the Plymouth State Panthers wanting to say something about that. Fleury has 2 goals today. Ranta knocks him off his mark, so he slides the pass over to Burke. Burke behind the net. Dolce-Mascolo to Minor. It's been those 3 from the X today. Minor across to Dolce-Mascolo. Man falls on the play. That's a crease violation, and it's Matt Minor, the guilty party. He's frustrated with himself. I think he just lost his footing there. That's unfortunate for the Panthers, but ball back to the Beaks, and Patrick Carey doing the honors, hands it off to Luke Murphy. Murphy, with 2 of the Beacons' 3 second-half goals, he just introduces himself into the game offensively when need be. He's been carrying the mantle for the Beacons right now in quarter number 4. Smith, 2 early goals. Haven't heard much out of him recently. He gets knocked off his mark. The Beacons very content to see the time just wind off the scoreboard here at James Cotter Field. 5:30 left to go in this contest. Connor Smith just staring at Aiden O'Laughlin. They've had a lot of one-on-one battles today. Double team now. It frees up some room for Admiran. He has room to his left, instead swings it to his right. Chapman for the right-handed shot, he scored! Charlie Chapman, 30 goals for number 3. It's Luke Murphy and Charlie Chapman. Max, you can corroborate this. Those were the two most clutch players during the Beacons playoff run last season, and they are combining forces to carry the Beacons across the finish line in today's semifinals for the second time today and the 30th time this season. Charlie Chapman finding Twine. Beacons up 3. It's 13-10. 4 second-half goals for the Beaks, 2 from Luke Murphy, 2 from Charlie Chapman, the middies with the most. And now another face-off win for McNeely. He gets it over to Murphy. Murphy, why not keep it rolling? Back up to Clay, and the pass was deflected. Ooh, Clay was on the doorstep there, and that's going to be a push against Patrick Carey. So Plymouth State, right after surrendering this goal, they have a chance to get it right back. 4:59 now. We're under the 5-minute mark, but this is a Plymouth State offense that can score goals quickly. That one should have gotten picked off. Somehow it squirts through and gets to Nolan Burke. Burke and Minor. Gotten to watch a bit of Plymouth State lacrosse this season. Normally you hear more out of both of those two in the goal-scoring department. Fleury shot misses wide to the left. It's Burke winning the race to it. Normally, both of them involved more in the goal-scoring plays. They've had the ball a lot. It's basically been Dolce Mascolo, Fay, and Fleury. Fleury gets poke-checked by Clay. Mezawar picks it up, and another huge defensive play for the Beacons. Talked about how good this Plymouth State defense was coming into action today, but the story is now this Beacons second-half defense, allowing just 1 goal in the past 26 minutes. Chapman with the clear. Chapman draws the double team. Timeout on the field taken by the Beacons. That's their second and final of the second half, pardon me. But now the Beacons can draw up the play. Looking at the scoreboard right here, 4:12 left. You got to think one more is going to make this feel real comfortable. We'll take a break. 4:12 left in the contest. Beacons up 3, 13-10. Maybe the conclusion after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv. So resetting the scene here, the Beacons have taken both of their timeouts. They have no timeouts remaining. Plymouth State still with a timeout on their sideline. They need a huge stop here. Let's see what they have drawn up. Your Beacons leading 13-10. 4 minutes, 12 seconds left in this contest. Luke Murphy, Charlie Chapman carrying the torch for the Beacons in the second half after a 5-goal performance from Gavin Admirand in the first half. And now maybe one more here would be the nail in the coffin for what up to this point has been a phenomenal 2023 season for the Plymouth State Panthers. For the Beacons, 2 uncharacteristic mid-season conference losses to Keene State and WestCon, but they were able to secure the 2 seed, and now if they do win this contest, they have a chance of hosting the LEC championship for the 3rd year in a row. But we're not out of the woods yet here in this semifinal game as Matt Minor spins off his mark away from Justin McCullough. Sean Cullah slightly late into the defensive push here as Mike Fleury spins off him. He'll hand it back to Nick Drew. Here's Nick Drew. Tall, lanky midfielder, wears number 23. Kind of reminds you of Liam Bowler out there. He spins around McCullough. This one gets to Fay in a goal-scoring spot. He goes with a soft shot bounce, and let's see who wins the race to the ball. No, they say the player on the back side of the play, which looks to be, I think that's 23. I think that is Nick Drew. Nick Drew ultimately wins that race to the ball because between McCullough and Minor, that was very close, and the referee just picks the easiest option, the player behind the play. It will stay with Plymouth State. They have a chance to get back to within 2. Minor, long shot. It's off the stick of Copy. It's not covered. Now it is. Trevor Copy. What a second half we are seeing out of number 21. It was a touchy start as this game got started. He allowed 7 goals on the first 11 shots he saw. Wow, he has settled down as this game has progressed. And now another clear. Beacons haven't had any issues clearing the ball out of midfield today. Admiran gets it. You look up at the clock now. It's down to 2:34 on a running clock. Luke Murphy ambling away from the net. Beacons just trying to milk off every second they can. Admiran to Banks. Banks getting fronted by Joey Lasardo with the long pole. Banks gets inside of him, though. Wraps around the crease, thinks better of the close-angled shot. Goes back out to Murphy. 2 minutes, 12 seconds now on a running clock is Admiran. Over to Mezawar. Mezawar, chop step. He gets around the short stick. He'll take it behind the net to Banks. Banks draws the defender. Shot goes wide as Banks takes a spill on the play. No flag blown. Banks back up. We have a timeout on the field, I believe, coming and taken by Plymouth State. So no timeouts the rest of the way. That's their second and final timeout. They call it with 2 minutes left. Going to have to draw up something big. But we do have our final timeout of the second half, which means this will be our final break. The conclusion after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you on LittleEast.tv. 2:01 left. It's Beacons 13, Panthers 10. Welcome back. Chris Del Sordo calling the action for you, the Beacons. A strong defensive showing here in the second half, and now trying to wind down the final 2 minutes of action here, holding a 3-goal lead against the Plymouth State Panthers. No timeouts on either side of the field now as Admiran lofts that pass up to Mezawar. Carson gets it, swings it over to Murphy, and the Beacons are going to just continue winding the shot clock here. Murphy, right-handed dodge, test the angle shot. McNichols gets a stick to it. That'll be a shot clock violation. And the ball back to Plymouth State. If they want to stay in this game, they need a goal here, and they probably need it within the next 20, 30 seconds. Let's see who is tasked with that for the Panthers as McNichols is going to join the offensive attack. Gets it up to Lasardo. Kind of a soft pass there to Fleury. It stops Fleury's momentum, and now he has to deal with Jacob Banks. Banks and Ranta comes along and separates Fleury from the ball. That is conference-winning lacrosse right there, and the Beacons' defense has been everywhere, and Admiran puts the cherry on top for the 6th time today, and the 72nd time this season. It is a record-tying goal for Gavin Admiran. The Beacons go up by the football score. It's 14-10, and now just 71 seconds between the Beacons and their 3rd straight LEC championship appearance. That was fitting. You had the 2 clutch players keeping quiet in the first half, Murphy and Chapman ramping it up in the second half, and then the man himself, Gavin Admiran, who, Max, worth pointing this out, in 2 LEC conference playoff games last season, 0 goals. In 45 minutes of LEC Conference Lacrosse playoffs this season, 6. That's how it's supposed to go. 72 on the season, and this is all ceremonial at this point, folks. The Beacons are headed to their 3rd straight Well, hang on. The goal right there in front as Cam Jenkins, the true freshman, scores the 2nd goal. That was number 15, Cam Jenkins, scoring the goal. It's his 5th of the season. He slipped in there and got the pass right in the middle of the field. And so, hey, Plymouth State, they allow the goal, but they score it back just 15 seconds later. I'll make my point momentarily. Got Jason McNeely back in the face-off circle right now. He has lost just 2 draws today against Leaf Charbonneau, who is a phenomenal Fogo in his own right. McNeely wins it initially, plays it back to Patrick Carey, and now the Beacons just got to clear here. McCullough lofts it ahead to Murphy, and now the Beacons into the offensive zone here. Just got to get creative with how you keep it away from Plymouth State. McFlynn away from Hersham. Colin Ford out there to help out with Timothy Sullivan. So now you have really just the fast midfielders out on the field. Flynn takes a spill, but he's able to spin off his block. He draws the penalty. More or less, that'll do it for Plymouth State right here. As Sullivan walks it over in the direction of Ford. If you're Plymouth State, you can take the penalty if you want, but it's going to be a man-up opportunity. And so now we can finally get into it. The Beacons test it, leading by just 2. It was a 9-7 score at halftime. They ratchet up the defensive pressure, stop the Panthers for just 2 goals. You see the embrace there between Crosby Fay and Justin McCullough, a phenomenal goal scorer and defender, sharing the embrace. This was a phenomenal lacrosse game, folks. Got to hand it to Plymouth State as their season comes to an end. But the Beacons victorious. Final score, Beacons 14, Panthers 11. And with the win, the Beacons move to their 3rd straight Little East Conference Championship game. That loss for Plymouth State, just their 4th of the season. They're 2nd to the Beacons. They fall to 14-4 on the season and end the year with a 7-3 mark in LEC play. For the Beacons, now 12-6 on the season with the win, 7-2 in the LEC, and depending on what happens tonight, they might have a championship game to host. Tonight at 7 o'clock, it is the 1 seed WestCon hosting the number 4 seed Keene State. If WestCon wins, the Beacons travel to Danbury on Saturday to play the Wolves. If Keene State wins, the Owls have to come down here to take on the Beacons in Cotter Field. And so we will all have our eyes tuned in to LittleEast.tv. It's going to be Bart Busterna on the call tonight. We're all looking forward to that. But the Beacons are in the championship game, and now we wait and see who it is against. Your final one more time, Beacons 14, Panthers 11. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the final numbers after this. Two teams meeting each other at midfield for a post-game handshake line that is well-deserved. This was a phenomenal afternoon of lacrosse. The Beacons muscled up, get the job done against a game Plymouth State Panthers opponent. The final score, Beacons 14, Panthers 11. Side-by-side statistically, for Plymouth State, that's uncharacteristic. 56 shots allowed. They never cede that many. Most of the time, it's under 30, at the very least under 40, but 56 shots for the Beacons. They do beat Owen McNichols 14 times, so just 25% on the shooting percentage. It's what the Beaks needed to do to get the job done. They get twice as many ground balls as Plymouth State, and this game really did swing once again in the center circle because Jason McNeely lost just 2 faceoffs. He was more or less the full-time draw control man today, and he got the job done and kept the ball with the Beaks when they needed it back. It's 6 goals for Gavin Admirand. Gavin now has 72 goals on the season, which ties a single-season record for the Beacons. He has also tied the single-season assist record for the Beacons. So the next of each, and those records will belong outright to Gavin. He already has the career points record. Pardon me. He already has the career points record for all UMass Boston Beacons players. It was a coronation day. It was a coronation day for Gavin Admirand. He's been one of the best players in Division III lacrosse for the past 3 years now, and he proved it with his playoff performance today. So covering the numbers one more time, it's 6 goals for Gavin Admiran, 2 apiece for Connor Smith, Luke Murphy, and Charlie Chapman. And for Plymouth State, leading the way was Crosby Fay with 5. He ends the season with 62 goals. And once again, folks, Crosby Fay, he's a junior, so you're going to have him a whole nother season out here to fend with big number 10 out here on the AstroTurf. I think as the shop gets picked up around us right here, that will do it. A glorious midday victory, and now everybody can kick their feet up and watch tonight. But the Beacons are championship bound on Saturday. For Max Clifford, for Mike Vesci, and everyone else here in the booth, I'm Chris Del Sordo. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. The Beacons with a huge win, and now 1 win away from their 3rd straight LEC championship. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Roll Beaks.